Hey guys, it's Jen, and it is once again time for Sephora's really big semi-annual sale. This only happens in the spring and in the fall, and otherwise these products that I'm going to recommend are not going to be on sale at all for the entire year. I would recommend for you to really do those like major big purchases, or if you're just not that frequent with buying your makeup, if you buy them all during these sale periods, you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So I just wanted to give you my top recommendations on a few products that I think that you should really splurge on during this sale, or at least like not pass up this period without taking advantage of it. So for this sale, there's actually two different days where you might start depending on what tier at Sephora you are. Like if you've purchased enough to be a Rouge member, it starts on the 14th and you get 20% off of everything. If you are a VIB or merely an insider, which doesn't have any purchase requirement, the sale starts on the 18th. And if you're a VIB, then you get 15% off. If you are an insider, you get 10% off. So like regardless, you can get at least 10% off no matter what. And then also on top of that, for everyone starting on April 14th, anything that is Sephora collection branded is 30% off. I'll put the details in the info box down below. This video is not sponsored or anything. It's just something that I do every single time a Sephora sale comes around to try to be a little bit helpful. I know people do a lot of research before they make these big purchases. So yeah, I hope this is helpful for you, and let's go ahead and get right into my recommendations for the Sephora sale. I'm going to start off with an eyeshadow palette that I have been the most excited to use this year. I think I actually purchased this maybe at the last Sephora sale, but this is by Danessa Myricks. It has been in and out of stock, so if you see it in stock, I would snatch it up right away because it does sell out very quickly. But it is the Lightwork Volume 3 palette. It's not one of her like giant palettes, you know, the big Lightwork palettes. Those are beautiful, they're colorful, they're bright, extravagant. I do love my color moments, but I have to say I'm usually a neutrals, everyday makeup kind of pretty glam kind of girl. So I think that's one of the reasons I was really into this particular palette, because it has all of the best colors from some of her other palettes, but just in a mini palette version. So what's cool about this palette is that she basically took the holographic eyeshadows from all of her different palettes and then just put them into one mini palette. And that's pretty much the whole reason I would personally buy those other palettes. I love my duochromes, I love my shifty, pretty colors, and there's actually quite a lot of wearable shades in this palette. I know sometimes colors can be a little bit intimidating for some people who don't incorporate that into their daily kind of routine, but this makes it so easy to get something just a little extra and a little more extravagant. I say this so many times, but the thing I love about duochromes is that even if you just use a single eyeshadow, the shiftiness and how it pulls light makes it look like you did contouring on your eye. It gives it a multi-dimensional look, and it looks like you put more effort into your eyeshadow than you actually did. So even if you just do one color over your whole lid, it looks like you really shaped it, and I just think it has the prettiest like popping effect to it. I'm actually wearing this shade right here, Soul, in the center of my eyes. I know I'm a little far away, you might not be able to see it, but I promise you it is chef's kisses, so pretty. It really gives an extra pop that is more than just a flat eyeshadow color. The thing that is so impressive to me is that these shadows are so buttery, they almost feel like a cream going down, and I think that's why it also pulls so much light. It pulls so much of that shifty duochrome, and it really just feels like butter. It just slides on super soft and really blendable. These are definitely a little bit on the pricier side as far as eyeshadow goes, although lately, honey, there have been so many expensive eyeshadow palettes, but I really think Danessa Myricks is worth the money. It has that wow factor that other companies just don't have. So if you're going to buy one Danessa Myricks thing, I would actually skip those like big expensive palettes and go for this mini one. Just hope it's still in stock. So basically on the opposite end, this is one of my favorite mini eyeshadow palettes. It's by Natasha Denona. I think I bring up this palette in like every recommendations video. I have Natasha's mini palettes in the neutral color and Biba, and I actually love both of them, but especially lately, I have been gravitating toward my Biba one because I really like this dark chocolate brown color right here. I posted a tutorial recently of how I do my double eyeliner trick. So this is one of my favorite shades to do that. It is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And the difference between this one and the neutral one is the neutral one is a little bit more of your warm brown tones. And then the Biba, it has more like reddish undertones, which I do find really flattering. It's almost like a rose gold story, but it does lean a little bit warmer. I find that it's very, very flattering if you have especially neutral or yellow undertones. So yeah, I just love every single color in this little palette. It's really great for travel, and it's Natasha Denona. So her eyeshadow formula is just super creamy, super nice to blend, and I like that you can just get this little palette without having to splurge on the giant one. Honestly, I use the mini ones more than I use my really big Natasha Denona palette, which cost so much more money. It's just that this has all the shades that I need in it, so it's so easy to grab. I know exactly what shades are in it, I know exactly how to use them, and on the eyes, I really feel like it gives such an easy, stunning look every single time. Speaking of eye makeup, I wanted to next go into a cream shadow that I've really been loving lately. This is from Bobbi Brown. This is the color Taupe. It's got a formula that works so well as an eyeshadow base. I've really been trying to work with different layering techniques for figuring out how to make the fastest routine that still looks really impressive and stays on all day. Instead of using just like a regular eyeshadow primer, I'll actually take a cream eyeshadow stick and use that as my primer underneath shadow, or sometimes not. You could just skip the shadow because they are super long wearing, but I feel like not having to do a separate primer and just going straight for the eyeshadow step sometimes does save me a few minutes. I've really been liking the formula of these because they're so soft, they don't tug on your eyelids at all, they blend out super, super easily, and it does last all day. If you do want to do just like a one-step eyeshadow though, I usually go for a shimmer when it comes to like a cream shadow stick, but I like both for different reasons. I feel like it's been a while since I talked about this pencil, but this has been one of my favorite eyebrow pencils. I'm a big goof-proof benefit kind of girl for my eyebrows, but I feel like lately, I think it's because I haven't colored my hair in a long time and my like really black hair has grown all the way out. I feel like I've just gone for more of a blacker toned or deeper toned eyebrow than I usually have in the past. And the shade I use from Benefit is just a little bit more like brown and warm than I've been vibing with lately. So this has been one of my go-tos. It's the Hourglass Arch Brow Sculpting Pencil. I love the formula of these. The actual pencil feels so high quality. The packaging is so, so nice. It does still have like that angled triangular shaped pencil, which I bet this is made in Korea. I know what my Korean eyebrow pencils feel like, and sure enough, it is made in Korea. But what I love the most about this brush on the other side is seriously next level. I love it so much because it has a little bit more fluff and give. So I feel like the way that I do my brows, which is to lightly, fill in any gaps, fill it in, and then I like to use the spoolie and just blur the front of them so it looks super, super natural. It just blurs it out so comfortably and really effortlessly. Some of the other brow pencils I've tried, the spoolies are really stiff or the bristles are too short, and I feel like it just is a little bit rough on the skin. So this one just feels really luxurious. It does a really nice job blending. The next time you go into Sephora, just like feel the spoolie end. I know it's a little like tiny detail that probably most people wouldn't even talk about, but for me, I think it really makes a big difference in why I would choose this pencil over another one. Oh, and the color that I have in my hand is ash. So next I wanted to talk about a long time favorite concealer. I don't ever not talk about this concealer pretty much, but I did have a little love affair with my Rare Beauty concealer for a while because I've just been using that in lieu of foundation and just having the one product. But let me tell you, I have been pulling out my NARS Creamy Concealer once again lately, and it's so good. There's a reason why everybody loves it so so much. And it's just because the consistency and how it lays on your skin, I'm telling you, it covers everything, but it makes you look like your skin is perfect. It just has this finish that's almost like a silky, satiny kind of finish. Like, it doesn't really look drying. It doesn't look like greasy or oily. I feel like especially a lot of under eye concealers, they just never dry down and they almost look wet or thick under the eyes. And I just don't get that with the NARS Creamy Concealer. It has the perfect consistency. I love it so much. I will never not repurchase it. The shade that I usually tend to purchase over and over and over is Custard, but I also like Cafe con Leche. Those are the two shades I use the most. I want to say Cafe con Leche is just like slightly lighter. I also still like using that on days where I'm not wearing foundation because I can spot conceal and just blends in with my skin completely. It doesn't necessarily have like the all over thin layer foundation effect as the Rare Beauty concealer, but it does a great job covering everything I need it to cover, covering up all my hyperpigmentation, and then as the added benefit of just like sticking on all day and looking really natural. So it's no surprise I'm going to be talking about the Rare Beauty blush. I love all of these. I love like almost all of the shades that are at least medium to lighter. They are very pigmented, and the thing is, I have a girlfriend, and for some reason with her body chemistry, all blushes will just fade away. They will just leave her body just absorbs it or something. They just don't stick on her skin, except these liquid Rare Beauty blushes in the more medium tones. I think that there's something just different about the dry down with these. There's a problem with a lot of like cream and liquid blushes where I don't know if the base is just a little bit oilier, but they just don't last all day. They just don't dry down and sink into your skin and like stick. But there's something a little bit more of a powdery effect that the Rare Beauty blushes have, that they do last much, much longer, and you don't even need to layer any kind of like powder blush on top of it. It does a great job on its own because it does have that dry down effect. But I have to say, this has been one of my favorite new shades. It's a really beautiful pinky mauve tone, and the shade is called Encourage. I feel like this would really work for a large range of skin tones as well. Another product I've been loving from Rare that actually came out recently is their highlighters. These are not the liquid ones, but the powder ones, sort of like a baked powder. I have especially been loving this shade. It's called Exhilarate. I don't know if you can tell from this distance, but I do have it on my cheeks. But this has just almost like a wet kind of look. The reflection on it is pretty insane. It's so gorgeous. It really just pops. Maybe like 10 years ago, I feel like you would find something like this, do a first swatch, and it's actually just an overspray on top of the powder. So like they were kind of misleading all of us because once you got to the powder underneath, it was like not actually what it looked like. Fortunately, this is really what it looks like, both in the pan, on your hand, swatched on my finger, and on the cheeks. For that reason, if you're not having a really good base underneath it, I feel like sometimes it can catch some of your imperfections. So I wouldn't put it toward the center of your face where you have more texture, like pores showing up. I would really keep it to the high spots of your cheeks. You could also put this as eyeshadow on your lid, which I did do on my inner corners. So pretty to use this as an eyeshadow. Like, I think that's going to be my go-to for a little bit. But this is just such a really beautiful shade. I love how it looks, especially over a really good concealer or foundation. Like, the combo of this on top of the NARS concealer, heavenly. Next, for lips, I have to say my most used lip liners have been Rare Beauty. I feel like I'm always talking about lip liners. I've been on such a lip liner love affair for the last couple of years. There were just so many from this collection that are really flattering on my skin tone. These are 3 of my most used pencils. I think for the one that looks the closest to my actual lip color color, so it's just like a natural, everyday, my lips but better kind of shade, is Worthy. In fact, I think I get questions the most when I use Worthy. It's always like the most neutral, everyday kind of look that I get the most questions. So that's just a wonderful kind of like rosy mauve shade. And then the other two that I wear when I want a warmer vibe on my skin, Fun and Lively. So especially going into springtime when I want to not just stick to like the pinker shades and I want to go a little bit warmer, a little bit more coral, a little bit more of those like slightly orangey tones, but still close to my natural lip color. These are the two that I go for. I'm actually super picky about lip glosses because I don't like glosses where after I wear them for a while, my skin on my lips gets kind of dried out. Even though it's like a emollient kind of feeling, it's wet on your lips. Sometimes after you wear it all day, your lips start to peel. I don't know if that's just a me thing. Let me know if that also happens for you, and if it does, what lip products work for you, because I would like more advice on that. I usually just go for like a balmy kind of texture, but I have really been loving the Merit lip oil. This is in the color Pink Beat. You don't have to think hard about it. Looks really flattering on the lips for an everyday kind of look. I'm wearing it today on my lips and it's one of my go-tos. Usually I'll just do a little bit of like Worthy lip liner with Pink Beat on top. It's definitely one of those my lips but better shades. So if you're close to my skin tone, definitely check it out. I guess I'm gonna go from like lasting the least to lasting the most. So this is somewhere in the middle, another shade that I feel like I have to mention because every time I wear it, people have been asking me questions, especially on Instagram. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram and you would like to, I will leave the info right here and in the info box down below. But I feel like every spring I kind of get into this ombre lip kick. I feel like it's not quite as harsh as some of the deeper, darker colors, but it still gives that reddish vibe to it, and it just makes my whole face look really brightened and lively. This is from Armani Beauty. It's the Lip Maestro in shade 205. Like I said, it's kind of almost like a brick red color, but it's not a harsh brick red, and I feel like on me it doesn't read as being super orangey. Like I feel like in the container it looks pretty orange, but on my lips it really looks a little bit more, I don't know, just like a really wearable red. It does have kind of that whipped souffle soft matte kind of texture to it, which is really lovely on the lips. But I can also wear this just all over the lips as well, and that is also a really, really pretty vibe. It doesn't look too harsh, you know, it doesn't look like a holiday red. For me, this is more of like a spring bright lip kind of shade. If I know I'm going to be wearing a mask out, or if I know I want my lips to literally last from 8 in the morning till 8 at night with no touch-ups, this is what I go for. I have just been loving the NARS Power Matte Lip Pigments. I have these in a couple of shades. Usually I always keep an everyday pinky neutral kind of shade and an everyday bright, slightly tomatoey red, because I like to kind of mix and match the two. I can do this all over my lips, but I usually choose not to, just because this is like, it's very, very bright. But I love using this, again, ombre style, where I put this in the center of my lips and kind of blend it out. And the good thing is this is so long wearing, I can literally kiss my hand and it won't transfer. So anytime I know I want to use a mask, I'm gonna be like around a lot of my kids and I don't want my lipstick to transfer onto them, this is usually what I use, because I don't want to sacrifice having bright lips sometimes just because fear of it wearing off. Depending on the occasion, you know, I like switching these both up because this has more of like a comfortable everyday feel. It has that sort of soft texture, and then this one is super, super long wearing. This is in the shade Light My Fire. I don't know if that is like a limited edition shade, but I will link whatever is the closest sort of like bright red that is carried in stock right now in the info box down below. I am not an everyday hair washer, and so my go-to on my in-between days is to use a dry shampoo. But the thing is, I've been pretty picky about dry shampoos. I usually tend to just go for a loose powder in a bottle that you just sort of shake on, because I hate that like thick, sticky texture you get from like Batiste. You know, there's a lot of these spray dry shampoos that just make my hair feel even more dirty, and I can't stand that feeling. I would rather just have no product in my hair than to run my hands through my hair and have it feel like heavy and thick. That's like the opposite of what I want my dry shampoo to do. I want it to feel like my hair is actually cleaner. There are very few dry shampoos that do that, but I recently have been using this one so much. It's by Vegamore, and it's their Grow Dry Shampoo. The whole Vegamore line is about stimulating hair growth if you have hair thinning problems or if that's like a concern of yours. But honestly, I have just been really loving this so much. Number one, because of the texture. It's the lightest can dry shampoo I've ever tried, because when I spray it on and sort of, you know, blend it in, I don't feel anything. It just makes my hair look not oily anymore. It's amazing. The second reason I love this is because it smells so good. It has this almost like citrusy kind of scent that at first when I sprayed this on my hair and then met a friend, I thought she was wearing perfume, but I was actually smelling my own hair because I had sprayed it right before I left. And it was so nice and pretty. I would actually wear this as a perfume if they made it as perfume. If you're also somebody who is not a daily hair washer and you're looking for a new dry shampoo, try this one out. Next, I wanted to share one of my favorite skincare items. This is by Dr. Dennis Gross, and it's their Alpha Beta Peels. There are a few different versions of this. The one I'm holding is the Universal Daily Peel, but they also have an extra strength one that I also definitely recommend. It just kind of depends on how harsh your other actives are that you use and how sensitive your skin is. If you have more sensitive skin, then I would definitely go for the Universal Daily Peel. But if you're somebody who has more normal skin or it's not super reactive to things, I also think that the extra strength one is excellent. It basically has two different sheets. One side has the actives in it, the acids that do their thing while you rub this little wet pad on your face, and then the second side neutralizes it once you're done. So I was first turned on to this by my esthetician. She recommended I try it out, and I really fell in love. So they are a little bit pricier, which is why I wanted to recommend it during the sale, because if you can get a discount on some of these nicer things, then I highly recommend it. Also, it says to use it every day, but I really feel like you don't necessarily have to use it every day. I would just get the extra strength one and use it like once a week as my weekly exfoliation. You're not using anything super harsh to scrub your skin, but it makes my skin so smooth and soft. And then finally, if you guys are trying to find that splurge item, think about what you're buying during this sale period, really taking advantage of it, and you're trying to decide between one of those Dyson products. I know everybody loves the Airwrap. I know everybody loves the Shark Styler, but to be honest, I have tried the Airwrap and I've tried the original blow dryer, and this is still my favorite. The thing is on the Airwrap is that the actual blow drying mechanism is just not as powerful as the blow dryer. If you have hair that's on the thicker side or heavier side like mine, it takes such a long time to dry. I would rather use this and then use a curling iron to get more of the beachy style waves. I've just not been super impressed with the Airwrap style of like prom curls. And then once you have the curls in place, they don't stay in. For me, they fall out after about an hour, and it's just not the kind of vibe that I'm going for. If I spent all of that time and energy to curl my hair, I don't want my hair to look like I didn't curl it at all. Here's my actual recommendation. Buy the original blow dryer. It is worth the money. I have used this so many times that the cost per use is actually worth it. Versus the Airwrap, I'm not always curling my hair. Sometimes I just want to dry it or straighten it and I don't want to curl it. It does work better than a traditional hair dryer because it is more powerful and you don't have to have it as hot as a regular blow dryer, so it's also less damaging because it's using more of the actual velocity to dry your hair, which is going to be healthier for your hair in the long run. And then what I did is I got this smoothing attachment from Amazon. I think Sephora actually has the official Dyson version, so if you want to get the official attachment, I'll also link that in the info box. But this one was just a knockoff attachment from Amazon, and it works amazingly. I use it like every single time I blow dry my hair, because I'm not good at doing the whole like round brush smoothing thing, because my hair is just naturally so frizzy when I blow dry it. But with this smoothing attachment, it's really like, wow, like it's just the huge difference of one side will be perfectly beautiful, like sheer smooth hair, and then the other side is like, it just gets kind of like frizzy. All my little baby hairs just stick out no matter what I do. And I've tried using different products to smooth my hair when I blow dry. I've tried using different straightening, brushing techniques. Nothing works as well as this little knockoff attachment. So yeah, that is my official recommended combo. The air wrap is good. It's just not as good as this. That's my official word. So I guess that is about it for all of my recommendations this time. I hope it was helpful for you guys. If it was, it would seriously mean so much to me if you would hit thumbs up on the video. It really helps the visibility of my videos. And if you enjoyed videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm always gonna give you the best recommendations. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!